Hi, Michael Bociurkiw here, World Briefing Plus. Saturday, that can only mean one thing. This is the day for you, dear subscribers of World Briefing, for your special insight video. Well, behind me, you might be able to see a layer of dark smoke. From what we can piece together, and this is really breaking news for you, I am here on one of the front lines of the Ukraine war. It appears that a very large foreign flag cargo ship was hit, took a direct strike by a drone, a powerful drone, and it is now sinking. I'm showing you as much as I can in the video right now from far away. Two locals who were with me said it's very unlikely they'll be able to save it. It appears to be sinking rapidly. So we're talking about the fourth or fifth foreign vessel struck this week, with many deaths and injuries. So let me cut to the chase here. It seems the Russians are deploying exactly the same strategy the Iranians are deploying in the Strait of Hormuz. That is to strike at shipping, block a crucial artery. This is world port Odesa that feeds the world. And by doing that, you scare away ship owners, crews, you hike insurance rates. In fact, we can see less traffic this week than before. Could be a seasonal dip, I don't know. But nonetheless, it does not work in Ukraine's favor. It doesn't work in favor of people who are starving in places like Egypt and elsewhere. It certainly won't help grain and other commodity prices. And yet, it hardly is worth a mention in any headlines anymore, and that's what worries me a lot, is that happening as President Zelensky, who, while I'll get to in a moment, says that Ukraine is out of Patriot missile systems to bring down incoming fast-flying rockets. In fact, we saw that this week, both here and in Kyiv, where rockets fly, as some Ukrainians on social media have described it as hot pierogies or hariachi perishke, flying in like that, so fast and without any resistance or protective dome. And that scares a lot of people. In fact, on social media, I saw Ukrainian language videos posted of Ukrainians in Kyiv asking, so are we supposed to be evacuating? Because that's the advice we seem to be getting. And if so, where do we evacuate to and who's going to help us? Because there's no help available. Now, the big news out of Ukraine this week, since I am here in Odesa, is what I described at least once, the boneheaded move by President Zelensky. Yes, the former comedian who became a very, very popular president, to sack the very popular 35-year-old Minister of Defense, Mikhailo Fedorov. In his job about 6 months, making amazing progress, especially getting rid of corrupt schemes, reducing the cost of artillery shells, employing a reward system for military guys who come up with cool innovations, and also shifting this big, huge military bureaucracy to NATO standards. Amazing things like leveraging a personal relationship with Elon Musk to get the Russians off of his Starlink system, which they illegally obtained, and which basically blinded them on their front lines. So it's only part of a long list of innovations he brought. This is a man who brought kind of Silicon Valley innovation and get it done type of attitude, tried to graft that attitude onto the carcass of a huge, corrupt, money-hungry bureaucracy. I say this without any exaggeration. This is coming straight from the mouths of Ukrainians. Is a lot of people here in Ukraine are getting wealthy off of this war. And I know it's anecdotal, but you can see it when you go to Kyiv. A lot of unexplained expensive cars and expensive real estate. So now, this, as I said on BBC and elsewhere, is reminiscent of last year when nationwide protests were triggered by President Zelensky's aborted attempt to decapitate the anti-corruption bodies. It was quickly reversed after the protests, but only after G7 ambassadors with the backing of their capitals came in and said, hey brother, you can't do this, enough is enough. He reversed it. This time, a deafening silence from G7 ambassadors and capitals. I can't explain why. I'll find out maybe this week in Kyiv. But without that, as my friend Olena Tragub posted on her Twitter feed, Zelensky didn't feel the need to reverse this decision. So he's actually appointed, at least as acting minister, the former head of the SBU. And there's a bit of a problem there. He's a military guy, and this is part of the rules here now. It's part of the NATO standards. The Minister of Defense is meant to be a civilian. So they actually short-circuited the system by getting this guy to resign, retire from his uniform, and then he's going to be good to go. I don't know if that'll work. The other problem right now is Parliament, for whatever reason, has gone on a month-long break, and they won't be back for a while. So really, the post remains empty, as does the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Andriy Sybiha, occupied it after Zelensky sacked the very competent then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Kuleba. So that's where we are right now. I received a very, very depressing and negative prognosis for the future of Ukraine right now from a Western Ukrainian who is here in Odessa. He's a merchant marine guy, of which there are many here. And he said, yes, now we have two fronts going on right now, active. The Russian one, of which there are really two. There's a physical front line, and then there's the front line behind me of aerial assaults by drones and rockets. But he said also you're going to see growing divisions in civil society. And that's the last thing we need right now. So, kind of wrap this up, is that I've always said there is a war with Russia going on, but there's another war too, and that's against corruption. And I still maintain this, that the millions of Ukrainians who fled Ukraine, including 300,000 or so who went to Canada, will not return to the old Ukraine, the corrupt schemes and all that. So people in Kyiv have to get that into their heads. And I'll be writing more about that next week and in the Globe and Mail, a long piece about the situation of the many, many Ukrainians who fled to Canada, whether they're going to come back or stay where they are or go to a third country. Also today and yesterday, sad day for me. It's a day I still have problems coming to terms with. 12 years ago today, I arrived in Hrabove in Donetsk in eastern Ukraine to the smoldering scene of the shoot-down of Malaysian Airlines MH17, a Boeing 777 with 298 souls aboard, including 80 children. And my thoughts and prayers are with the friends and families of the victims. Such a sad day. 12 years on, they can't access the site to mourn. Some have not even received any remains, and those who have, some only a bone fragment. And most importantly, 3 men have been convicted, but they're in Russia or Russian-controlled territory and not expected to spend a day behind bars. And certainly, the folks at the top of the command chain who allowed this to happen, a Buk missile to fly into a civilian airplane, I'm sad to say, may never be held accountable. One more thing here, because I did include it in World Briefing yesterday, and it's information you can use, is that I urge you, when you're flying long haul internationally, do check the routing of the flight. MH17 was flying at 34,000 feet. At the time when it was flying over eastern Ukraine, airspace had been closed up to 32,000 feet. It should have been closed completely, but it wasn't. It wasn't. So that plane would be here today if they closed the airspace completely. So I think the skies are actually becoming more unsafe with 2 simultaneous wars going on. Any flights over Ukraine just don't happen. The airspace is closed, but also much of the Black Sea too. And then on the other side, further south, you have the war in Iran, and the European Aviation Safety Agency this week warning everyone to stay away from airspace over Gulf countries. So airlines need to route their planes through a very narrow corridor, a northern one and a southern one between Asia and Europe, and that's causing a lot of problems. I'll leave it at that for today. As usual, if you know someone who might benefit from a paid subscription to our briefing, please urge them to do so. Every cent that goes towards subscription gets plowed back into my reporting and commentary mission. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you for your support of World Briefing. Bye-bye.